Hi there, Aiden. Here's some feedback then for the ADVERT project. So, you've handed in your work in Google Classroom. Thank you for meeting the deadline. I've given you some one-to-one feedback already in relation to the planning you put together, and you've collated and presented your work on your WordPress blog. So, let's have a look at the assignment brief. So, in the assignment brief, I asked you to do the following: to gather research in a digital portfolio, your WordPress, and to create a series of advertisements to promote an original new film idea for the consideration of Exit 6 Film Festival in 2019. Creating video, audio, and image evidence, and some reflections on your portfolio, whether it's ready for the expectations of industry. So I've put some notes here to help me ensure that we are marking this thoroughly. So let's go through and see whether the grade has been achieved or not yet achieved for each of the criteria in the project. So let's go through it, shall we? I'm also going to be cross-referencing to this, which is the fail or pass criteria for UAL and level 3 standards. So we're looking at research in particular here, a bit of problem solving, planning and production, and practical skills, a bit of evaluation as well there. I'll be looking back at that as we proceed. So here's your blog then. Thank you for organising this nice and neatly. Think about getting your Twitter links in there as well. You've organised this nicely with the professional projects in the separate tab, marking that when you submit that in a week or so's time. Well done. Now, the embedding isn't working particularly well in your blog, as we'll talk about shortly. For now, let's focus on the blog for the ADVERT project. So I've gone back to the beginning and I've opened them up one by one, the posts. So these are the posts I can see. So the first post is in relation to filming on the 8th of October. So capitalise the first letter of a sentence always, Aiden. It's really important to. So I like the fact that you've embraced the Lumix, the Panasonic GH4. That's great. The 4K filming facilities. Capitalise the I there. It's really important to do that always. Yep. The zooming elements of the camera and the fact you can capture emotion better. I think that's a really interesting point. I like the fact you practice with this and really sort of demonstrate a real practical competence with using this bit of kit. Always capitalise the I, it's really important too. I love the fact you're a Chris Morris fan, me too. That whole ambience realist aesthetic is something that I feel you certainly approached in this project. And I appreciate that, filming alone is quite difficult. Incorporating your partner, getting better ideas. Your partner wasn't in class and didn't use Hangouts. I feel like communication was a real issue in this project, but we'll come on to that more and more. So nice to see reflection nice and early in this post here. Your second post is in relation to location photos, some scouting, and reflection on the use of these locations. Again, capitalise the first letter of a sentence always, Aiden. And capitalise the I as well. So good problem solving, I would argue here. Good reflection on different spaces. The quality of the camera isn't used to its optimal levels here, but again, nice experimentation. The next post on your blog is in relation to the questionnaire. Capitalise Q in questionnaire. And what's it about, the questionnaire? Again, capitalise letters at the beginning of sentences. It's a bit general, your survey. Tries to be more precise, more specific in relation to what the answers you want to get, the data, the information, the research, the facts you want to get. Because how does this help your idea? Yours is a very niche, specific, precise aesthetic you're looking for. To embed a GIF from Jam, or to embed some brass eye related videos and to ask people's thoughts on the impact would be quite interesting here. But missed the opportunity. So we sent this out the questionnaire, but it was only for BCOT students and staff, which is, we missed a trick when I retweeted it, because people, my ex-students, were saying we couldn't access it because they weren't BCOT domain email owners. So in future, just make sure when you share things with me that is accessible to everybody beyond the college. Bit general, bit broad, bit too much of an overview really. Try to be specific in future with research to get what you want. What do you want out of this? Think about that. Again, capital letters, Aiden, always, beginning of every single new subheading and sentence. I love the idea of a Spotify playlist. I think that's a really creative idea. Hugely inspired by Chris Morris and Jam, which I can see. Very good. Very good. Interesting research here in terms of secondary. I really like this. I think it shows you plucking interesting ideas and collating and curating them into different interesting alchemy. The primary research here, again, capital letters. Managed to get 10 responses, was it in the end? Yeah, 10 responses. Yeah. You reflected well here on the answers, and I feel like more in-depth answers would have been better, perhaps. So I feel like here we may need to get a bit more research to sort of show a bit more in-depth understanding of what your audience wants, but we'll come back to that. Let's have a look at the next post on your blog. It was about let's have a look here. Reflection podcast. Yeah, you've embedded some 6-second, 4-second, 3-second clips here that were of no use, Aiden. So always double check your blog. Scrutinize it. Make think about me, the clients, and Exit 6 who will see this if I feel it's appropriate. In terms of them viewing and analysing and looking at this, is these clips here. What are they? They're titled Basingstoke College of Technology 3 and 4. What does that mean? Bit too broad and general. Try to be specific. Keep your brand consistent. Keep mentioning the title of what you're doing and relate it back to that. Keep your brand consistent. The recordings that are relevant, this 132 one, this 136 one, show some reflection, some thoughts about how things are going, and some problem solving and some progress. You were stranded a little bit, it would appear, and left by your teammate to actually sort of fend for yourself. You never whinged or complained, and you did persevere and problem solve, and that was noted, Aiden. Okay. Minimal, but there is some reflection there. We then go to the storyboard, which if you storyboard that for this, quite limited in terms of what you can do with this, but gives a general overview of the vibe and sense. This looks far more conventional and cliche than your finished project actually was. I think to see some sketches and hand-drawn illustrations and articulations of the mood and vibe and tone, or even a mood board, would have really enhanced this, actually. It's difficult to articulate what your idea was, but to do it through a mood board and some jam-related GIFs, I think would have been really cool, actually, and easier to make clear to your partner, Suraj, as to what you were aiming at. Because it felt like you were pulling in different directions at times in this project. Yeah, that's a good idea. It's a nice idea what you had. Capital letters beginning of a sentence here. It's more like it, Aiden. That's a cool shot. I like that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, didn't share on your team drive, which caused many issues. Assume caused many issues. You should know whether it caused issues or not, really. You should be talking and communicating the whole time in your teams. Okay. But it does feel like you learned on this project, Aiden. I will say that. Visual project, you can, develop what you've done and go further. The radio advert is very surreal and minimal, quite interesting as a soundscape. The use of print screen here to illustrate what you've done, shows competence, certainly, using the Logic software. But I feel that I could have done some more voiceover talking about what this is. The new film from Aiden Bliss. starring Suraj Panja and Aiden Bliss, and then a tagline like nobody knows why things go bump in the night, and then your tagline comes in. Something to that effect might have been a little bit more in keeping with what expectations or conventions of what a radio advert is. This is very out there, which I like, but does it promote, does it drive the audience to take action with regards to the product or service? To buy a ticket, to subscribe, to watch? Does it direct the audience anywhere? Arguably not. There's good reflection here as to how it went, but I feel like, not quite there, the radio advert, if I'm honest. Idea though. You've got some really interesting ideas, Aiden. I will say that. I like your advert. I think it's really trippy, really psychedelic, really interesting aesthetic and vibe to it. Yeah, the Chris Morris infused sort of cutaways and jump cuts. The font I'm not too sure about. Undermines the tone of it. It looks cheap almost. Yeah. I think there's some interesting camera work here, interesting approaches. It's got a consistent style and tone and colour palette and brand, which isn't apparent throughout the rest of the blog, but you can see a brand being built here. I mean, Suraj's got his earbud in that shot there. That's a cool shot though. I do like that. Yeah, that is interesting, that shot, the way suspense is built. Not the payoff you would like, but still interesting. You've got a sense of momentum, pace, and chaos, and real trajectory. The capitalised T in the night is not in other parts of the blog or the trailer. So try to keep the branding consistent, the spelling consistent. I like it. I think it's a decent trailer, that is. But in terms of driving them to take action, what next? Subscribe, follow, click here, coming soon. What's happening next? The rationale. Now, I know you've done this because I've seen it over your shoulder when you've been working in the blended learning session, but I can't see it. As you can see here, I've seen it. And other than the typos and the lack of capitalisation in places, I think it was pretty robust and decent and actually laid out a good claim for the project, the idea, and was well planned. Double check that for me. Make sure it's embedded because I can't award the marks for it until it's here in this grading, Aiden. So it's important to always double check things for the user, as it were, the client, to make sure that they can see it as well. Yes, due to lack of communication, I was the one who finished this. Yes, very diplomatic and mature of you to phrase it in that way, Aiden, and it's noted and appreciated. Well done. Capital letters. Yeah, and again, I've seen this, but I can't. It's not here, so I can't award the grades for it. So I need you to make sure it's embedded properly and to check that it works. In terms of the posters, yeah. Here are the two posts I've created for In the Night. Yeah, very minimal here. And it's not clear that what it is in terms of is it film, is it an art piece, is it a product? It's not clear. In terms of the font looks cool here. I like the font here. Actually works quite well in that backdrop. This is a good shot as well. Nice photograph. Interesting manipulation as well. Whether that's in-camera blur, I'm not too sure, but I think it looks really neat. There we go. Yeah, I think your skills technically are pretty competent, Aiden. I think you've got great potential in terms of editing, whether it be audio, video, or image, actually. So yeah, I like this. Good work. But again, make it clear as to what it is, and what's the audience going to do next. They may look at it and go, yeah, cool. And then what? I've got to drive action. What are they going to do next in relation to this? I like it though, got to say. Project reflection vlog. This is interesting. Got quite a confessional on this, I think you did, as it went on. Bit rambly in places. a bit more structure in terms of pros, cons, things to improve in the future would have been appreciated. But throughout the 14 minutes and towards the end, you start to talk about things you would improve upon, things you would you want to reflect on and do the next time round. I'd like to have seen more problem-solving solutions in relation to teamwork, in terms of how you could have done that better. That would have been nice to hear from you a bit more. But you do reflect here, you do show growth, and you do, show some remorse as to things that didn't go according to plan, but there is genuine reflection and evaluation taking place here at times. And the scripts are very minimal, Aiden. This is I appreciate, you're scripting a voiceover for a short advert, so it is minimal, but I think using a Google Doc script template would look a bit more professional, I think, here. And when you're photographing a bit of paper like this, if you can use an app like Cam Scanner or Office Lens from Microsoft, it shapes it, neatens it up, makes it look a little bit more slick, I think, in future, because your blog looks cool. To make sure everything looks professional and well presented is really important. Advert edit. Throughout the editing process, things change drastically. Yeah. You did adapt relatively well, I think, here. Yeah, good reflection here as to each channel. Individually increase or even decrease the level so that it wasn't overpowering or underpowering. One thing I would change about the edit is the long, slow motion shot we decided to use. But why? Go further and think about me looking at this going, but why? Why should we care? Tell me the story of why in future. Let's go a bit more in depth as to why this wasn't, why this could be improved. Constantly think about that. Think about the clients looking at your work and judging it, essentially. Okay. So let's go back to this then. So overall, I think you've done a good job, Aiden. I do. I think you've shown real professionalism and drive and focus. Let's go through this here. Apply understanding of a range of processes to support media activities. Now you have submitted video, audio, and image piece of work to a good quality. The audio in the trailer and in your radio adverts shows enough competence in relation to audio processes. The image manipulation and the video manipulation in the edit I'm happy with as well. So I am happy to award the criteria for 1.1. 1.2, apply, but I would say the audio I think a bit more dialogue would have been beneficial to improve the quality of the work. But that said, there's certainly competence here in relation to 1.1. To refer back to this here, if we go back to practical skills, there's adequate range of processes, skills, and knowledge demonstrated here for the pass. Competent execution and application of techniques used to develop ideas. Yeah, in the audio in the trailer and audio very surreal in the advert, it's competent, I would argue. Okay, but the lack of dialogue in the audio trailer is a concern, and almost didn't award the criteria for that reason. 1.2, apply media processes and skills safely and appropriately. I think with confidence I can also award this criteria as well, because throughout the video, audio, and image manipulation you were safe, prepared, organised, booking out equipment, taking responsibility for the GH4, and showing a general sense of leadership and problem solving in relation to using these media skills safely and appropriately. I think I've observed you be quite conscious looking after the GH4 professionally, carrying it and transporting it in an efficient and professional way. So yes, I'm happy to award all of outcome 1 so far for unit 1. Outcome 2. This is critically compare a range of communication methods used to convey meaning in creative media production. So this is you evaluating and justifying your ideas, reflections on how ready your portfolio is for client expectations. Now, I'm not going to award this just yet. So what I'm going to ask you to do here, Aiden, is to add a paragraph discussing the strengths and weaknesses of the video, image, and audio adverts. After listening to my feedback, I want you to reflect and deconstruct your own work and think about how well they worked. And I want you to compare them as well. This is really important. Compare these methods and discuss whether or not they successfully convey meaning. The meaning you're going for, did it manage to land, do you think? Did it deliver? Speak to some people, get some feedback from them maybe. I need you to do this in order to achieve 2.1, okay? Be critical about it. Get some feedback from people. For Unit 2, critically compare a range of research tools, methods, and skills. Now, the rationale and action plan I can't see at the moment, so I need you to add those in and make sure I can see them, because it's not yet achieved for that reason. There's some definite ideas generation here and some posts relating to that. Your primary research, there is some analysis of the research. Secondary research is minimal, but I quite like it. I think it does show you taking influence from some interesting reference points. I'd like to see maybe a mood board as well, but I think what we see here is quite certainly competent at the very least. Evaluating and justifying ideas. There is some attempts to do this, but this is what I need you to do in order to achieve the 1.1 criteria for Unit 2. Okay, ensure the rationale and the action plan are embedded correctly. Because I can't see it at the moment, Aiden, to be honest with you. Also, I think by doing what I've asked you to do above, the reflexive paragraph, by adding the reflective paragraph, you can show further evidence of your ability to critically compare your skills, methods, and skills. I think I don't have enough of that at present. Okay. Also include in the reflexive paragraph how the research could help you more next time around. The specificity, the detail you can go into in research, maybe a focus group or some interviews, or sharing it on Twitter using certain hashtags such as Chris Morris in subreddits of Chris Morris. You could have got more rich research there, I feel, mate. 2.1, critically compare a range of primary and secondary research sources. Compare them. Okay, I wouldn't say they're compared. So, compare the research sources you have gathered and scrutinize them. E.g., what worked and what would work better. Again, this can go in the reflective paragraph. Let's go to outcome 3. Apply design and research tools, methods, and skills to record and interpret information and develop ideas. Apply design and research tools. So I think you've done this. You've applied the research and design tools, but I just can't see them, is the truth. So again, I'm going to ask you to ensure that the rationale and the plan are visible to clients, me, and Exit 6. Achieved. Okay, Lastly, 3.2, evaluate the effectiveness of design and research tools, methods, and skills to develop ideas for creative media production. Okay, so again, this comes in with the reflexive paragraph, Aiden, as we've discussed. The reflexive paragraph you will be adding needs to evaluate, so the pros, the cons, the good, the bad, the research you have done. How could you use this more effectively? Doing a jam Chris Morris inspired infused mood board here might be useful. Equally, the reflective paragraph, I feel, will cover this. Don't be disheartened, Aiden. It's your first project, mate, at level 3. And, it's a lot of work we've asked you to do here. But in review, here's what we've got. So we've managed to achieve the practical elements of it, certainly. I think you've shown real flair and skill there under tough circumstances at times. I also feel that some parts to improve, and here's what you need to improve. And I've stated for Unit 1, 2.1, for Unit 2, 1.1, 2.1, and 3.1, and lastly 3.2. We've still got a bit more to do. So reflect on that. I want you to use this to help you in your resubmission, which is going to be due in the 16th of November at 4:30. Okay, 16th of November. Any questions, please let me know. But you've got great potential. I really enjoyed looking at your work. Well done.